Finlay's time has expired. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge if there are any other members that are in the room.
Madam Chair, Mr. Massie is in the room and would like to speak.
I'm delighted to yield 5 minutes to Mr. Massie.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. There's no doubt in my mind that we have thousands of people in this country who are incarcerated unfairly or over-incarcerated. They've served their time, they've been punished enough, and that they should be released to lead productive lives. With that said, clemency is a tool of the executive branch, not of Congress. And I think we need to take this opportunity to think about what we could do in Congress to fix these problems or to prevent these problems. I don't think mass clemency is the answer any more than mandatory minimums is the answer to crime, because it's a one-size-fits-all. But I do think there should be more clemency and more considerations given on an individual basis. Ms. James, you mentioned conspiracy and how so many people are charged with conspiracy. Just to summarize for those people who are watching this is a way to prosecute somebody who's not committed a crime. What we have to do is have the resolve in Congress not to pass more conspiracy laws, but we're doing it every year. But it's not easy to vote against some of these bills that have the conspiracy stuff stuck in them. The anti-lynching bill had a conspiracy charge or clause in there so that you could convict somebody who'd never been involved in lynching somebody of lynching somebody merely for talking about it. And so it takes resolve on the part of my colleagues to vote against these things where we create new conspiracies. Also, mandatory minimums. These are one of the most dangerous things that we've created here in Congress. And their creation of Congress, not the executive branch, we don't let the judges have the discretion that they should have to determine what the actual punishment is to fit the actual crime. But when you've got a bill, and it's a bill to prevent sex trafficking, and there's a mandatory minimum in there, it's hard. Politically, it's hard for my colleagues to vote against a sex trafficking bill, that would cut back on sex trafficking, even if it's got a mandatory minimum in there. But they're not considering the fact that that mandatory minimum could be used to prosecute a receptionist at an internet hosting company merely because that internet site was used for sex trafficking, and the single mom who's the receptionist there, maybe she knows something's up and it's not, everything at this company's not on the up and up, but she's got to feed her kids and she's working there as a receptionist. Why does she deserve 10 years in prison when the person who's actually committing the crime may get exactly the same sentence? It just takes a lot of resolve. We got to start reading the bills. Read the bills, look for these things in there, and offer amendments to take out the conspiracy charges and to take out the mandatory minimums that are in there that tie the judge's hands, and then create this problem on the back end where you need to use clemency. And I'd just like to use my remaining time to talk about one case of Ross Ulbricht. He was a young, peaceful, first-time offender serving a double life prison plus 40 years. The guy has been condemned to rot in prison for setting up a website called Silk Road. And there were people selling drugs on there, and he probably knew that was happening. But the people who were selling drugs on there who got convicted are already out of prison. And the guy who set up the website when he was 26 years old is now 10 years later, this fall, it will be the 10th anniversary of his time in prison. He was an Eagle Scout. He doesn't claim that he was innocent. He knows now that it was a crime. He's asking for clemency. He's asking for his sentence to be commuted. And, he's got a college degree. He could be a productive member of society. And so I would like, hopefully, the executive branch to look at this case. But Madam Chairwoman, I would like to submit for the record a summary of Ross Ulbricht's case from freeross.org and remind people that Ross was never prosecuted for causing harm or bodily injury, and no victim was named at his trial. I ask unanimous consent to submit these 2 pages from that site.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.